Hi, this is Dean, and I have a video on an Irish ornament called a bowed triplet. Sometimes I've heard it referred to as trebling. And it is a bouncing bow, but it's not very bouncy. It sounds more like a percussive snare drum, doing a snare drum roll. So it's not That's the kind of sound that it makes. And it's usually done either down bow or up bow. I think it's easier to learn up bow, but I think it sounds better down bow. And here's what it sounds like down. It's a little bit like bouncing a basketball. You have to press down very hard just to get it started, and then you have to, well, kind of release the pressure right after that. So one thing to think about is that you're using your first finger to kind of turn a doorknob or something like that, or unscrew a lid on a jar. So you're exerting pressure on the bow as you're going here. So, and you can certainly hear that as a loud percussive sound. And that was not a bowed triplet, that was just a loud percussive sound. And you can start out by doing the notes very slowly. And I do 3 preparatory bow strokes to get into. And since I've done so many of them and I've trained myself to only do them at 1 speed, it's difficult for me to do them slower than that. And this is true of many Irish ornaments. It's done in Irish dance tunes, which all have a pretty narrow range of tempos between 100 and 120, maybe up to 130 or 40 for polkas. So you don't want to learn these things too slowly because you don't want to develop muscle memory for a slow motion when it's a fast motion that you want. So it's a little bit of a sink or swim situation here. It's like riding a unicycle. It's not like you can slowly learn how to ride a unicycle. You either are balanced or you are on the ground. And it's true for this ornament as well. So let's just try a few of those kind of slowly. And as you get a little, if you want to be more percussive and still maintain the volume, a neat thing to do is to visualize using less bow on it and keeping the same speed. And that way you will, as a result of using less bow, you will use more bow pressure to get the same volume. And that will work as well. You'll notice one thing about the bow hold. I have 2 bow holds. There is the classical bow hold that I use sometimes, and it has the pinky on top. If the pinky is on top, then you can't really angle your hand over very easily. And so you're kind of using your muscles rather than the position of your hand, right? So take that pinky off and let it just fly around. And that will help you get a little more, I don't know what the word is for that twist, a little more torque maybe, a twisting motion there. The other thing that I do, and many Irish musicians do, is instead of playing with their thumb in the classical position right there, we oftentimes move it up to the end of the bow grip here. And I have seen fiddlers move it up to the end up here. And when you look at old paintings from the Baroque era, I think that you can see heavenly cherubim and other heavenly beings playing viols with their bow holds somewhere in the middle here. So and I actually was at the Lyra Baroque Orchestra played in Rochester, where I'm from, and I heard them and the soloists all had all the players held their bows somewhere around in here. So it is part of the classical tradition as well. Anyway, you're going to get a different sound when you put your hand here. You have to work a little harder to get a good tone because you don't have as much bow weight to work with. So as a result, then it's a little lighter sound. But then when you do the bow triplet, it's kind of more of a contrast. And maybe you don't notice the difference, and maybe I don't notice the difference either. But somehow after playing for, 15, 20 minutes, and then you go back to the other way, you kind of notice, oh, that's really different. And even when I listen to players, I oftentimes can hear their bow holds. But not always. All right, so let's also do this exercise where we bow from a D string to an A string on a down bow, and then we do the bow triplet. And that is another good exercise. You'll notice that because the bow is slightly bouncing off of the string, even though you can't see it doing that, the string is resisting the bow. So you have a springy string and you have a springy bow. So there are many variables. So if you try to do this exercise right here, it might be different than out here. So you'll get a different sound there as a result of there being more tension in the hairs out here. You'll also notice that you get a different sound when you're closer to the bridge. As opposed to over here. That sound is not very nice. It's, again, you're putting too much pressure and the string can't handle that kind of pressure. So those are some exercises to work on, and you can speed them up, but remember, you're not speeding up the ornament. You're always doing the ornament at the same speed as soon as you mastered that. And once you master that, then your notes that come before it can go faster. And that my ornament was at the same speed as if when I went. So that's another good exercise to do. You can also do it across strings, the E string to the A. In this case, I was doing an up bow to a down bow. A down bow is going to have a stronger sound. It's going to be easier to do once you learn it. I think I mentioned that earlier. So you're going to want to do that as well eventually. And then you can try it on different fingers as well. And it's going to sound different on each string. The E string is so tightly wound that if you use the same amount of pressure as you do on the D string, you're not going to get hardly anything at all. So you don't get that percussive sound because the E string is just too hard to get it to move unless you really exert a lot of pressure. So there are many variables to think about in this. And that is about it. Um, I'll show you a place in which it occurs, and that is in Silver Spear. I usually played a little faster, and I probably should have played a little faster. It wasn't my best. I did it better at home, except that I am home, so you'll just have to take that excuse for what it's worth. Good luck, and let me know if you have any troubles. Bye-bye.